It was a crisp early morning on March 19, 2009, when 35-year-old Claudia Lawrence stepped out of her small house in York, England, to make the over 2-mile trek to her job as a chef at the University of York's Goodricke College. By all accounts, it seemed like just another normal Thursday for Claudia. She had made this same walk countless times before. But this morning, something went terribly wrong. Claudia never made it to work that day. In fact, she has not been seen since. Her sudden disappearance sparked a massive investigation that is still ongoing after nearly 15 years. Yet, detectives remain completely baffled about what happened to Claudia. How could this friendly, outgoing woman who loved her job and talked to her parents every day just vanish without a trace on her way to work? Was she the victim of an opportunistic abduction along her early morning walk? Had she become entangled in a dangerous love affair that turned deadly? Or could someone closer to Claudia be responsible for her disappearance? There are so many puzzling questions and still no definite answers. Claudia Lawrence lived in a row house just a few doors down from a popular local pub called the Nag's Head. She didn't own a car, so on the morning of March 19th, with her vehicle in the shop, she set off on foot shortly before 5 a.m. to make it to work by 6. It was still dark out, but Claudia wasn't too concerned about the walk. The weather was decent and she made the trek to and from the university several times a week. When Claudia didn't show up for her shift that morning, her co-workers assumed she was running late. But as the morning stretched on with no sign of Claudia, her boss grew worried and tried calling her cell phone. There was no answer. Concern mounted when Claudia also failed to meet her best friend Susie Cooper at the pub that night as planned. Susie tried calling too, but couldn't reach her. Sensing something was very wrong, Susie notified Claudia's father, Peter Lawrence. Peter told Susie he had just spoken to his daughter the night before. She gave no indication anything was amiss. In fact, they made plans to meet up the next evening for drinks. Peter rushed over to Claudia's house with Susie. Inside, they found no signs of foul play. Her chef's uniform, money, and identification were all there. Her bed was made. A few dirty dishes sat in the sink, but both her cell phone and the small bag she carried her uniform in were missing. It was clear Claudia had gotten up that morning fully intending to go to work. But for reasons no one could explain, she had vanished somewhere along her normal route. Peter Lawrence reported his daughter missing, certain she would never intentionally disappear without telling her loved ones. However, police initially weren't too concerned, believing the 35-year-old would soon reappear. But as hours turned to days with no contact from Claudia and no activity on her phone or bank accounts, investigators knew something sinister had taken place. An extensive search began along Claudia's likely path to work. Police scoured the area but found no signs that she had been injured or killed in an accident. They checked surveillance cameras too, but could not spot her on any footage. Detectives started looking into her personal life for clues. By all accounts, Claudia was a friendly, caring person with a positive attitude who loved her job as a chef. She came from a close-knit family and spoke to her parents, Peter and Joan, multiple times a week. Her parents were divorced, but she had good relationships with both of them. Her best friend Susie said Claudia lived life to the fullest and nothing seemed off when they last communicated the night before her disappearance. So why would this woman with seemingly no enemies or personal issues just vanish on her way to work? The deeper police dug, the more mysterious the case became. There were no promising leads and no trace of what happened to Claudia after she left for work sometime around 5 a.m. on March 19th. Search efforts ramped up. They scoured rivers, sewer systems, and properties throughout York. They interviewed friends, family members, co-workers, and anyone who knew Claudia. But every avenue led to a dead end. As days passed with no breaks in the case, investigators started to believe Claudia had not gone missing voluntarily. They feared she met with foul play. possibly having accepted a ride from someone she knew or getting abducted along her early morning walk. Someone out there had to know something useful. But even as weeks went by, the frustrating silence continued. In late April, with still no solid leads, detectives made the shocking announcement that they no longer believed Claudia was alive. Although they lacked evidence of any murder, it had been over a month since she vanished without a trace. Police believe she most likely came to harm at the hands of someone she potentially knew and willingly left with. But who and why? This spawned rumors that Claudia, who wasn't known to be dating anyone seriously, may have actually had dangerous liaisons with married men or others who wanted to keep the affair secret. However, her close friends disputed allegations that Claudia was leading some double life. She went on occasional dates, but didn't have endless illicit relationships.
She was a beautiful 35-year-old single woman with no children, no ties, not even a pet to worry about. So I think it would be strange if she didn't go out and meet men for drinks or dates. She was quite entitled to do that.
Still, it remained possible she fell victim to someone hiding a dark side. Investigators made pleas for anyone who had romantic ties to Claudia to come forward, vowing confidentiality, but no one ever did. Claudia's stunned parents clung to the faint hope their beloved daughter was still alive somehow, even as the case grew cold. But without her body or any trace of evidence, police simply had no way to prove if she was dead or alive. Heartbroken but determined, Peter Lawrence refused to give up the search for answers. He tirelessly campaigned to keep Claudia's story in the public eye, hoping to shake loose that one elusive clue. But year after year, his efforts led only to crushing disappointment as not a single legitimate sighting of Claudia occurred, and no new evidence emerged. Periodically, detectives pursued new leads that initially seemed promising. In 2010, they released photos of Claudia taken on her way home from work, the last known pictures of her before she vanished. That same year, police got a potentially significant tip from a TV appeal that breathed temporary new life into the investigation. In 2013, they searched Claudia's house again, hoping advancing forensics technology might uncover missed evidence. Over the years, police even arrested several local men whose names came up as persons of interest. But there never was enough to link anyone to Claudia's presumed abduction and murder. All possible suspects had ironclad alibis or simply no motive to harm Claudia. In 2021, over 12 years after Claudia went missing, investigators took the extraordinary step of draining a nearby lake to search the bottom, acting on a tip her body might be there. But just like every other effort thus far, the labor-intensive operation ultimately led nowhere. Today, almost 15 years later, Claudia's baffling disappearance remains an impenetrable mystery. Detectives still believe with near certainty she met a violent end, but lacking her body or any solid forensic evidence, police have struggled to elevate the case beyond a suspicious missing persons investigation. And without that crucial proof of murder or manslaughter, prosecutors cannot file charges against any suspects, even if police could definitively name them. For Peter Lawrence, now in his late 70s, the agony of not knowing what happened to his precious daughter continues after all these years. He vows to keep fighting for justice until his last breath or until the truth is finally uncovered. Until then, he hopes and prays that one day soon a critical clue will emerge, finally exposing the cold truth of Claudia's shocking fate. For her sake and her loved ones, investigators hope so too. This haunting case serves as a cautionary tale of why people, especially women, should always exercise extreme care walking alone in isolated areas or accepting rides at night from casual acquaintances. Claudia's story also highlights how quickly an ordinary morning can take a heartbreaking turn and change lives forever. Her deeply distressing disappearance also underscores the vital importance of coming forward with any small scrap of information that could help break open an investigation, even years later. As one top investigator pointed out, by staying silent, people may be protecting whoever harmed Claudia. For now, the vanishing of this bright, promising young woman with her whole future ahead remains an impenetrable puzzle. Without answers, there is no justice. And without justice, Claudia's devastated family continues living an endless nightmare. But until police uncover the full truth about what happened that dark morning in March 2009, the disturbing mystery of Claudia Lawrence lives on. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and share this video and subscribe for future uploads.